Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to cover loop, and the first one we have is for loop. It is one of the most important loops, I would say, which relieves programmers or anyone with uh, you know an ease, I would say, rather than making your code complex using too many if else etc. For loop was introduced to iterate over a sequence, right? We can use list, string, tuple, dictionary, range, etc. This we will cover later on, but these are all the standard functions, or you can say data structures that is used in Python. So let's talk about the syntax here. It is very important to understand the syntax. So for variable in, let's say, sequence, right? And this will be the code block where the execution happens. So we can use any variable in sequence, and we can get a print for that based on how things pan out, right? Let's talk about that for loop with one example. Let's take a string example here, right? What I'm trying to do is I want to print the string, right? So I'm taking for character, that's a variable I'm taking, and in I'm taking a string directly, right? Python a colon followed by colon, and I'm typing a print char. So this is what we're trying to print here, right? So execute it. It should print python, right? That's the respective strings coming in, right? Now let's talk about some other function, just commenting it out. There is something called as a range function in Python, right, which is pretty interesting. So what it does is, for let's say for I in range I'm taking 5, and I'm doing print of I. So I want to show you first what it does. So it will print the value of I starting from 0, like any string starts from 0, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So it will, the range function, what it will do is it will always do a n minus 1 for this value, right? So in this case it is 5, so 5 minus 1 is 4, so that's the reason it is printing till 4. Let's say I'm doing it 6, so 6 minus 1 is 5, right? That's how this works for using the range function. Now let's try something for which is called list. Like list, we will cover uh, you know list in more detail, but just consider something for now, that list is something where you can store different values, right? So I'm writing some fruits here, right? Anything, right? Banana, cherry. Now for any variable, let's say var in fruits colon print var, right? Execute it. We get all the respective fruits: apple, banana, cherry, etc., right? So also one thing you can notice, when we are using for loop, you can also use else loop, right? So you may say, right, that what is the use of else here, right? Like, why can't we just simply do a printf statement, right? So there are certain scenarios, right, where there could be conditions where we want to debug something like a piece of code, or there is something, an execution based on some logic, that when the for loop execution is complete, if everything is okay, run the else loop. If everything is not okay, run the else loop, and show what that particular condition executed. in many cases in general reality of programming world, a lot of times we debug, we use that to debug, like if the execution is fine, and you know while doing unit testing we generally do that to make sure code is working as expected, the behavior, uh, the logic is built correctly. So there are many things such, right? So you can use it, it's all not mandatory to use it, it's optional, but it depends on use case to use case. So now this is what we have covered about for loop. I want you to practice a lot of things using for loop, right? So whatever we have covered till now. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment, and I will see you in the next video. Yeah. Thank you for your time.